Hey everybody, real quick before we get to Turok, I want to show you that I submitted another speedrun to speedrun.com, this time for Shadows of the Empire. As you can see, there's only two people who went for the 100% Jedi for Shadows of the Empire. I got second place, but I would have been first place if it was by, if they separated the categories of what region of game they were playing. The number one guys playing on the Japanese version, whereas I'm playing on the US version. I really wish I would separate the categories because a lot of the games have differences. The main reason why you see a lot of non-Japanese players playing on the Japanese games, the versions, is they're a lot faster with the text. So they really should change that on up, have it different categories. So if it was that way, I'd be first in the US region of the game. But as you can see, not many people speedrun on 100% in Jedi because of how hard it is. I know Wasted Youths just commented. He says he wants to go for some of the single level speedruns, and he found out how hard it is on Jedi. 2-3 hits and you're down real quick with Stormtroopers lasers. So anyway, let's go to Turok. Alright, now we finally beat every 1996 game for the N64. That was one hell of a first year. All of them were masterpieces except for Killer Instinct Gold. That one's a bit lackluster. I don't like fighting games with the juggling combos where you gotta memorize long combos. And if you're reading in the descriptions down below in the videos, you'll see I've been putting up mini reviews with the ranking system. Now, there's a lot of people who don't like scoring systems. I personally don't like the number systems because a lot of people think it's like school where anything under 70 or 7.0 is might as well be a 0, a failure. The game's no good. So there's a lot of redundancy there, where it's like, whose line is anyway, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. So what I like is the letter system. I only know one other guy who does the letter system, where there's only one letter where the game's no good, where it's a failure, and that's an F. Now I'll put up an image of how I do my lettering system. But yeah, with the lettering system, it's real easier to spot out what are the best games or what are the worst games just by having that guy has a list where you can easily point out, if you never played the system or console, you can quickly find out what are the best games or the worst games you should avoid, and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm doing. So now that we're done with the 96 games, what I wanted to do next is do the 1997 first-person shooter games, which I think it was the best year for the genre there. Alright, we're going to start off with the first-person shooter on the console, Turok. Now, if you saw the Shadows of the Empire game, it looked like that was a first-person shooter, but that was more of a third-person game, although you can switch to the first-person view, but I wouldn't count that as a first-person shooter since you can switch the camera angles. So that would make Turok the first-person shooter on the system. Came out in early '97, and then from there we're going to move on to Doom 64. Then one of my all-time favorite games, GoldenEye 007. And we'll end off this year with Duke Nukem 64. Now, as you can see, we got Hexton over here. I just wanted to bring this on out. Now, I wouldn't consider this a first-person shooter. I'd consider it more like a first-person melee or first-person RPG. Yeah, because you don't have any guns in this game, although it takes place in the first-person view. Not every game that takes place in the first-person view is a shooter. Let's see, like Mirror's Edge, that's more like a first-person platformer. So, just wanted to point that out there, and what I was going to ask, where's Hexton? That came out the same year, 1997. Alright, now we're going to authenticate this. I'm going to move the fucking lights here so we can see. TU, the serial number. Yep, TU. Paint splotch there. Now this one I did not get back in 97. This one I got a little bit later. You'll see in a second. I got the receipts in the manual. Show that real quick. I got the game in 2017 for $9.76. Got the manual. Ooh, September 11th. For $5.94. Gotta get this fucking light so it's easier to see. Yep, that gloss. Ooh. Let's see if that website still works. Where the hell is it? There we go. Found the angle. You know what? Easier to just fucking zoom. Here's where everyone, well, a lot of people complain about the controls. I have no problem with the controls because this was the first console, on the, well, 3D first-person shooter on the console that I played, so defaults are no problem for me because that's how I always play them as. I'll explain that more when I get to the live stream. Now, there was other console first-person shooters, but it's the Doom, Wolfenstein style of first-person shooters on the Genesis and Super Nintendo that people played. Now, I did play the Doom on the computer back when it came out. My cousin had it. And I also got the Ultimate Doom. I believe it's Ultimate Doom for like a 95, 96, something like that. But unfortunately, it doesn't fucking work because you know how computers are. A big pain in the ass with the different operating systems and bullshit like that. No, there's probably a way to fucking get it working, but you gotta jump through a bunch of fucking hoops as opposed to just buying a console and putting the game in, and there you go. A lot of weapons in this game. Yeah, now there was, what the fuck is that game called? Jumping Flash for the PlayStation, but that was more of a first-person platformer than a shooter. I never got to play it. Yep, real thick manual here. And of course, Turok is based off a comic book series that dates all the way back to, like, I think 1954. Yep, that far back. That seemed to Acclaim acquired the rights to the I think it's Valiant Comics and got all the IPs. And once they did, they wanted to make a game, and Turok was the best IP to make a game for, they thought. Yeah, this is fucking stupid how they end this comic book right here. With a baseball problem, as opposed to shooting the guy in the fucking head. Yep, he does a old Abbott and Costello routine here to beat the fucking evil guy.
Now, on the St. Louis team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellas on the St. Louis team.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
You know the fellas' names?
Yes.
Well, then who's playing first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name on first base.
Who?
The fellow playing first base for St. Louis.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
Well, what are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, who is on first?
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who is on first?
Have you got a first baseman on first?
Certainly.
Then who's playing first?
Absolutely.
When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money?
Every dollar of it. And why not? The man's entitled to it.
Who is?
Yes.
So who gets it?
Why shouldn't he? Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it.
Whose wife?
Yes. After all, the man earns it.
Who does?
Absolutely.
Well, all I'm trying to find out is what's the guy's name on first base?
Oh, no. What is on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Well, don't change the players.
I'm not changing nobody.
Take it easy.
What's the guy's name on first base?
What's the guy's name on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know.
He's on third. We're not talking about him.
As opposed to the fucking boss just fucking killing Turok. And there you have it. That's Turok. We're going to be live streaming that soon. I'll see you guys there.